Now, sounds like the ultimate clash between Crown and Parliament. A former spin doctor to Boris Johnson says that the PM squared up to King Charles after he criticised the Rwanda refugee plan.
Now, he was, of course, Prince of Wales at the time when Boris Johnson had this fallout with Prince Charles. They were actually in Rwanda at a Commonwealth summit, and the Prince of Wales, as he was at the time, apparently said the policy of taking refugees to Rwanda was appalling. And there was quite a fight about it, according to Gita Harry, who's written a blog about it, who was his communications man. So,
royal correspondent Michael Cole joins us now. Good morning, Michael. It is the front page of the Daily Mail, this story today.
Yeah, it is.
Boris and Charles, Rwanda bus stop. Why is this important now, do you think?
Oh, it is very important, and of course I believe it, absolutely. This is another courtier's tale. After Dominic Cummings, who was to politics what tornadoes are to houses in Oklahoma and Kansas, we now have Gita Hari, who was for 18 years a not terribly distinguished correspondent, political man at the BBC, an affable, amiable Welshman. And he's not written a book like Cummings, he's written this podcast. To put it into some context, last June, which was 3 months before Her Majesty the Queen sadly died, they were on their way to Rwanda for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Incidentally, Rwanda is a member of the Commonwealth, but was never a British colony. It was first a German colony and then a Belgian one. And during this time, the Prince of Wales, as he then was, said he thought it was an appalling idea to send refugees to have their applications for asylum and admittance to this country to Rwanda. Now, any politician who has a settled policy should be able to defend that. And apparently that's what, according to Harry, Boris Johnson did, squared up to him. It's not quite sure what that means, but knowing Boris as I do, and I'm sure you do too, particularly you, Andrew, I'm sure he would put his case forcefully, and that's what happened. But this has to be put into context, because he was asked, the Prince of Wales was asked, what would happen when he became king? Would he continue to lobby? Would he continue to write his Black Spider letters? Would he continue to ride all his hobby horses, essentially political issues? And he said, of course not. He said, I'm not as stupid as all that. You know, and I think he meant that. The king, the monarch, has an absolutely invaluable right, a prerogative. He has the right to be informed by the government of the day, to encourage and to warn. And that usually happens at these famous Tuesday night audiences. The Prime Minister has an audience of the king, to use the correct terminology, and in that meeting, which is entirely private, no notes are taken and nothing ever leaks from it, essentially what the Prime Minister is doing is presenting his homework to the teacher and having it marked, and there's a frank discussion. And John Major, I think it was, said that he had to prepare for those meetings with Her Majesty the Queen very, very carefully. And it's said that, you know, the Queen only had to raise one eyebrow and say, do you think this is entirely wise, Prime Minister, for the Prime Minister of the day to go away and think about whether it really was entirely wise? And that's a very important check and balance in our famously unwritten constitution.
Is it too soon to draw any conclusions, Michael, about the relationship between King Charles and Rishi Sunak as the PM now? It's one of the few times we've seen them together, really, bopping away at the concert. What do you think their relationship might be like?
Rather good, I would expect. I mean, this is Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, maybe tonight, if there is an audience, I should imagine that the king would say to him, "Well, what do you think about pharmacies? You grew up in one with your family." You know, the discussion you were very brilliantly having earlier. They are. He's got it on first hand, and that is important because the monarch is there. No statute is a law until it's signed off by the monarch, and that's a very valuable thing for us. I've always felt, and I've said it before, but I think it needs repeating, that a constitutional monarchy is one of our best defences against extremism and dictatorship, and it's been working very, very well since since the Glorious Revolution all those years ago. And I think it will get on very well. They will get on very well. Why not? He is his first prime minister, and they will have to build a good relationship. Most of the prime ministers of the past have done so. Lord Melbourne, who was Victoria's first prime minister, she was almost in love with him. Before she married Albert, the relationship was extremely close. And after some difficulties, King George VI, during the Second World War, had a very close relationship and invited Churchill onto the balcony at Buckingham Palace after the war, which is a rare honour. Talking about that, and you did the runners and riders on the balcony, extremely well. What about Charlotte in her cake? She looked brilliant.
She did. She looked amazing.
She did.
Thank you, Michael.
Great to talk to you as always, Michael Cole.